Hey, y'all. Got a story, a very, very sad one out of Texas. It was originally from July, but I've included the update that was just recent. Let's go through it real quick. 7-year-old boy reported missing in Spring. Thursday morning found dead in washing machine. We got some video, but let's read. Harris County, Texas. A 7-year-old boy who was reported missing Thursday morning from Spring was found dead in a washing machine, according to an update from the Harris County Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit. The parents of Troy Kohler made a missing persons report about 5:20 a.m. according to authority. Troy was last seen in the 4400 block of Rosegate in the Burnhamwood subdivision. Homicide unit officers arrived at the home and interviewed the parents. That's when authorities were led to search the home thoroughly. Lieutenant Robert Minshew said. About 7:20 a.m., officials found Troy fully clothed in a top-load washing machine located in the garage. Minshew said he could not comment on whether or not the machine's lid was closed. Troy, a foster child who had possibly been adopted by the family in 2019, but officials were working to confirm that. This is him right here. Poor kid, little cutie. The parents were detained and taken to sheriff's office for further interviewing. No other children live with the family. A relative of the father said when they found out what happened on the news, he didn't want to go on camera, but said the family feels blindsided by this and they are heartbroken. We ask for everyone's prayers for the family. Harris County Precinct 4 Constable Mark Herman said in a Facebook post, I'm not praying for these people. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not going to pray for anyone who hurts a child. Spring ISD confirmed Troy was a student in the district. One of his former teachers described him as a bright kid who was full of energy and would be missed. Now I've got a an update. So let's go back. I want to share this screen here. Oops. Sorry. Here we go, right here, because they were arrested. And let's see. A judge decided to maintain a $2 million bond amount for a man charged with the murder of his adoptive 7-year old. So they did adopt a boy. Jermaine Thomas, charged with capital murder, appeared before a judge for a court appearance on Friday morning. This was the first time he appeared since he was charged in his son's death. Troy Kohler's body was found in a washing machine at his home in Spring after he was reported missing in July. That's these two right here. Tiffany and Jermaine Thomas's bond was set at $2 million and $150,000 for charges connected to the murder. You know what? $150,000, that's not enough. The medical examiner determined that Troy suffered from being beaten, suffocated, and possibly drowned. The boy was found with blood on his nose, a bump on his forehead, and bruising on his legs, investigators said. Blood was also found inside the washing machine and in the doorway. In court, Jermaine wore a yellow county jumpsuit, kept his face down, and was polite to the judge when she asked where he worked. He said he's a chef at Memorial Hermann. The judge said that she'll allow him to keep working if he posts bond, though he's not allowed to come in contact with any children. Despite the defense's claim that the bond was way beyond what it should be, what? Jermaine's bond is still set at $2 million. Prosecutors filed a motion a few days ago to deny bond altogether. Though on Friday, the judge asked prosecutors if they wanted to move forward with that motion, and the prosecutors said no. Okay. So in those type of hearings, you have to be able to prove future dangerousness, that you're going to seek the death penalty. In this case, the evidence really isn't there to be able to prove that element. Okay. Oh boy. And 2 million is a considerable amount of money to make for bail. It may as well be no bail. True. No major news details were revealed about the investigation of the boy's death. Prosecutor maintains that this is one of the most egregious cases he's seen. He said both parents, Jermaine and Tiffany Thomas, had deep hatred for their adopted 7-year-old son and were angry because he was stealing their snacks and playing their video games. The fuck? Investigators extracted text messages from Tiffany and Jermaine's cell phone. Court paperwork said Tiffany texted Jermaine that she threatened to put Troy in the stove and turn it on because until the little boy finally came clean about eating her oatmeal cream pies. Okay, this is her. Okay, she looked like she could lay off the pies. Wouldn't y'all agree? She could stand to not eat a few pies? Jeez. Here we go. Okay. Some of the text messages from Jermaine to Tiffany graphically describe how Jermaine said he was going to kill the 7-year-old. Tiffany is facing a lesser charge, injury of a child by commission or omission, meaning they believe she contributed to the boy's abuse, or she's at no fault. She's at fault for not protecting him. Okay. This wasn't enough. You know what? Letting women skate by because they're women needs to stop. This woman is just as monstrous as her husband. Okay? She doesn't need a lesser bail. She doesn't need lesser charges. If anything, because she is the mother, and it is a mother's first duty to protect her child no matter what, she should have the higher charge because she allowed it. Anyway, her bond is set at 150,000, and she's scheduled to appear in court for the first time next week. Let's see, we got some video. Let's look at some video here.
Murder of a 7-year-old boy allegedly at the hands of his father. ABC 13's Courtney Fisher is live from the courthouse where the suspect appeared in court this morning. Just awful, Courtney.
Yeah, Erica, this is the first time we saw Jermaine.
Okay, fair use. Fair use.
Thomas up close. He was wearing a yellow county jumpsuit, kept his head down, was polite to the judge, especially when she asked him where he worked. He told her he was a
Of course he's going to be polite to the judge. You know, he's not going to have any smoke for an adult.
chef at Memorial Hermann. And she says he can keep doing that job should he make bond, though he's not allowed to come into contact with any children. His bond, by the way, is still set at $2 million. Prosecutors filed a motion a few days ago for no bond. Today, the judge asked the prosecutor if they still wanted to move forward with that, and the prosecutor actually said no, that they'll stick with the $2 million. So after court, we asked why. Here's the prosecutor.
So in those types of hearings, you have to be able to prove a future dangerousness, that you're going to seek the death penalty. And in this case, the evidence really isn't there to be able to prove that element. And $2 million is a considerable amount of money to make for bail. And it's not technically equivalent, but it might as well be no bail.
No major new details of the investigation into 7-year-old Troy Kohler's alleged murder. The prosecutor maintains that this is one of the most, what he says, egregious cases he's ever seen. Both parents, Jermaine Thomas and his wife Tiffany, were told had a deep hatred for their 7-year-old son. That's what investigators say. They say that he was angry because that little Troy was stealing their snacks and playing their video games. Now, Tiffany is facing a much lesser charge. Right now, she is only charged with injury of a child by commission or omission. And really what that charge means is that investigators believe that she either contributed to abusing Troy before he died, or that she did not keep him safe, from the hands of Jermaine. So as the investigation continues, we're told that her charges might be upgraded. But again, right now, her bond is much lower, set at only $150,000, and she should be in court sometime next week. We'll keep following the case. For now, reporting live downtown, Courtney Fisher, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Thanks for staying on top of that for us, Courtney.
Okay, so we got another one down here. Let's look at these two. Let's see if it's going to be an ad first.
A 7-year-old boy found dead in a washing machine in Spring are now behind bars, and that comes after months of investigating by police. Now, we know the details of this story are disturbing, but it does paint a picture of what investigators say this poor child had to endure.
Text messages reveal the parents spoke about killing their child for eating their snacks. CPS has been involved with.
Okay, you know what? He looked like he don't care. And she, she just looks upset, but I'm sure it's upset because they got caught.
The family twice, and it's one of a few cases we've recently reported where parents are accused of killing their children. ABC 13's Brooke Taylor live in Spring after trying to get some answers on this case. Brooke.
Eric and Mel, the documents here are even just hard to read. This 7-year-old boy, investigators say, was found with bruises all over, a bloody face and injuries to his face. They say he was suffocated, he was beaten, and even possibly drowned. 4 months after 7-year-old Troy was found dead in a washing machine, and his adoptive parents are now charged. Court records show disturbing texts between Jermaine and Tiffany Thomas. Investigators say Jermaine was upset their son ate his donut sticks and texted Tiffany, quote,
Wow.
I need to get the locks. I'm going to end up killing him. They're going to come home and he's going to hang from the tree outside. In another text, investigators say Tiffany said their son admitted to...
Is she crying?
I'm going to end up killing him. They're going to come home and he's going to hang from the tree outside. In another text...
Okay. Is she the one? She upset about him eating her oatmeal pies? Girl, bye.
Investigators say Tiffany said their son admitted to eating her oatmeal cream pies because she threatened to put him in the stove and turn it on. In July, the parents reported Troy missing. Officers found the boy dead in a washing machine in their garage. Troy was a foster child who was adopted in 2019. CPS has investigated the family twice after concerns from his school. This doesn't surprise Mike Schneider, who specializes in CPS investigations.
We often find when children are injured, it's not the first time when it comes to light. There's often a history. Unfortunately, CPS has a lot of turnovers, and I think that affects their ability to follow through on a lot of these investigations. CPS has lost about 3,000 employees in the last year.
According to data from DFPS, Harris County caseworkers juggle a daily caseload of around 16 cases. There were more than 24,000 investigations in 2021. Statewide, CPS says they've had a 35% turnover rate.
It's easy for these cases to get lost or for a caseworker to not know enough about the past with this family because what's on paper or in their file electronically doesn't really reflect what the family's really like.
CPS didn't answer our questions about Troy's case and their history with the family, saying legally they can't until the investigation is closed.
They appear to be an agency that's just overwhelmed in general.
And when we get that fatality report from CPS, once they're able to release it, we'll of course bring that to you so we can look into how this could have been avoided. Meanwhile, his adoptive father is charged with capital murder. He's behind bars tonight on a $2 million bond. The mother is charged with injury to a child by omission. Her bond set at $150,000 tonight. We're live in Spring. I'm Brooke Taylor, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Brooke, absolutely horrifying what that little boy went through. He was failed by so many people. Thank you for that report.
You know, hold on. I want to go back to these two. Y'all need to stop questioning and I said this in the earlier video about the Hispanic people, but you need to stop questioning when Sly does his video, his commentary, and he talks about how certain parents are at fault and they line their kids up. Yeah, they absolutely do. We see this all the time, and I'm not even. I don't even know what more I can say about these people killing their children. It's monstrous, and yes, it happens. And you got to stop denying it. I mean, I know y'all love lies, but at a certain point, you have to admit that there's a lot of truth in this. A lot of parents hate their children. And, we see this all the time, every day. It's right here in the text messages that the man said that I'm going to end up killing him over eating his donut sticks and her oatmeal pies. Maybe he was hungry. Maybe they weren't feeding him properly. So if he's hungry, he's going to go looking for something to eat. He's a child. And how bad can a 7-year-old be that you have to beat them to death? This is disgusting. And another reason why I've said this many, many times, I am just a proponent of forced sterilization because I don't believe they did this just because this boy is adopted. If she would have had children of her own, they probably would have done that also because this is their mindset. Again, there's just no victims here except for the poor little boy who was killed, 7 years old, and then put in a washing machine. And let that sink in. Let that sink in. 7-year-old beaten to death and then put in a washing machine like he's just a filthy piece of clothing.